Thank you very much, Gassan. As you said, our game of the day will be on the same map as arguably our most exciting game before this point. Furia's very, very close OT victory earlier in the day. But even though Night and Seed came short, obviously, Ollie, now we have w7m going up against Loud. Do we think it will be that close? Do we think Loud have it in them? Or do we think w7m with Dota as highest rated player in the league, Loban, one of the best lurkers in the game, to quote Fox, and then also Volps, do you think they have a chance?
You should throw some respect on STK, Perez, and Live, I think. And that's what we might need to do in this. Well, I think that's what
they did beat FaZe yesterday.
I remember when Perez came into the league, and we were doing like little voiceover things for BR6, and I had to do like someone had written it, but they'd written it in Brazilian and then translated it into English. So the language,
it's Portuguese. The language.
Yeah, well, so they'd written it in Portuguese, and then they translated it into English. But it was really like, it was such emotive language, and I was saying like the young superstar Gunnar Perez and all this sort of stuff. I've still got the script somewhere. I should dig it out. But every time I see his name, all I can think about is that voiceover.
Well, me being such a Rainbow Six superfan, I of course remember that voiceover, and I'm thinking about it word for word, verbatim, right now.
As you should.
Ollie, as you said, it was such a good voiceover. You just really can't forget it. By the way,
as you should.
By the way, also, to go back to something Gabe said, he mentioned that w7m tend to ban a bit more like an NA team, and he was curious if they would do that on Bank, and he was correct to be suspicious about that. We've got the NA attacker bans. Hibana and Ace taken off the board. Meanwhile, for Loud, I would say maybe the NA counterpart Ollie be Azami and Castle, but Azami and Mira would also probably be right home in a North America game. Would you agree?
I would concur.
Reload.
Currents established.
I'm surprised to not see the castle be played. Obviously, there's time yet. It's round number 1. Looks as though we have got a little bit of something going on upstairs, as a couple of barricades have been placed out here for Loud, and we do have a player inside of Elevator. Now, Fulps goes unnoticed, and we will get droned out there, called out. Little bit of pot shots sent his way, but he's already made it back to the site. Now, he's wasted very little time, if any, but it was a bit of presence, wasn't it? It was a chance.
Just showing face, shooting some drones, falling back. The soft roam formula. Nothing broke, no need to fix it. Even if you're the Tachanka, just don't overplay your hand, you should be fine. Only player you got aggro. I was curious, I'm like, maybe it's the Warden. Sometimes you see the Warden shotgun hold that position in case there's like a Ying on the board, but it will be the Smoke holding that standard spot on top blue. Even though Jaeger is a lot better now that he can catch Capital bolts, we don't see any ADSs on the board on the side of w7m, so not exactly like the blue hold of old. Certainly not as easy to get these hatches when you're trying to Maverick it and you're using got a Zoto canister in the way, though. Did Volps try to flank?
He was itchy, wasn't he? He was like, he felt like he had unfinished business.
No, he wasn't even itchy. I think he was just like on cam in front of an angle and they found him.
Oof. Well, he can be on cams to his heart's content. Right up until the end of the round. Palu's still going to be in this blue stairs angle. He can hear the drones coming in. There's some fire up above him. With the Ying, it's a very dangerous position to be in. He is going to get droned out there, and that hatch is open. So the chance of him getting out right now, it's pretty slim to none. There's quite a lot that's going to get thrown at him. Toxic Babe canister hasn't gone off. It did get shot out there. Stuns come through. A Toxic Babe attempted, but he can't be long for this world.
What? What? Well, he's meleeed live. Now, obviously, losing both your plant denial is not great, but we've only got 13 seconds left. If Loban just drops this bomb on him, from gold or from wherever, they could win, but oh, Loban's all the way over in garage, and it goes wide when he tries to throw it. Perez holding down the angle all the way into server. This diffuser will go down safely. Dot's trying to hit a flank off now, but Loud have manpower surplus at the moment. They can watch flanks, they can watch insight, they can hold down the diffuser itself, especially now that we're in the post. Easy pre-fire for Daffodil. And Loban without many options, let alone good ones.
Said we had to put a bit of respect on Perez's name.
Ah, and I'll give you credit for that. You did say that.
Ooh. I mean,
nice shot.
Not too much, because Loban's going to rip his head off, but STK from the hatch secures the round for Loud. Not going for the super patient, let's psych him out approach on round one. Instead, giving him an option and just saying, come on, let's get this round out of the way. You know we've won this. Let's just clean this thing up and get ourselves trucking into round number 2.
The kind of thing we want to see, though. Little structured take, able to find openings given to you. Really brutal that Volp's, again, I believe sitting in front of a hole made in like the upper right ceiling of lockers, like facing marble. And I think he was just like sitting in front of it. Either didn't know he was exposed or he was on cameras. That's how you lose your Tachanka, your main form of plant denial, and you commit the smoke, Palu, to blue stairs, so you lose your denial that way too. Kind of just like, really just series of unfortunate events for W7M that round, but we'll see how they go next time. We move up to CEO. Volp's taking the smoke away from Palu, keeping his role as wasting time. We have a Maestro coming in. You can play so many Evil Eyes now. Here's where they're all going to go. Oh. Don't DC. Don't DC. Oh, he DC'd.
Well, Ripperoonie. Unsure if we'll have a rehost for that, honestly.
He took so long to disconnect.
Well, it didn't happen in the prep phase. It happened in the action phase. I mean, okay, nothing really happened. Okay, SDK is leaving. Everybody's leaving. Looks like we are going to have a rehost for that. I never like to say, because I never know what the admin is going to decide.
Yeah, I'm not an admin, so I never make that call. I'm just always like, oh.
If I was an admin, everything would be a rehost.
You think
so?
1
second left, I'd rehost that.
Round win? Rehost.
Just for the drama.
You won the round, but you should have lost? Rehost.
Rehost. No, I really don't envy that job at all.
I would not either. Feels like all the bad parts about being a lawyer, and it's just like, it's like, oh, I gotta make hard decisions. I gotta be careful. I gotta be attentive. Rough go at it. But you know what? You know who else had a rough go at it? Volp's getting domed in the head, and Palu's left on an island east stairs. Hope you're a big fan of Black Dragon's Liquid, because that's our next game.
And there's some spoilers in here. Obviously, this isn't how the next game is going to go.
No,
we haven't played it yet. We don't know. This is just
up until this point. This is
just up until this point.
It's just up until this point. Liquid obviously not having the best stage so far, though they have had 2 max overtime games that they did end up losing, which is always quite unfortunate.
I really think you maybe need to rethink the wording on that opening statement about Liquid not having they're in 10th. They have 1 point. There's not having the best stage, and then there's being in 10th with 1 point.
Okay, well, you know.
As Team Liquid, by the way.
What do you want from me? I'm actually, hold on. I am curious. I checked this earlier, but I forgot. Is this worse than their stage 1 start to last year?
This has to be an all-time low.
I don't know. That was pretty low. Because I think, I was about to say, so let me check. Lost regulation first week, regulation second week, regulation third week, regulation fourth week. Then they had an OT victory week. Then they had an OT victory day 5. And so yeah, they lost 4 games in regulation in a row. So yeah, in terms of sheer losses, okay, yeah, this is actually now worse officially as of yesterday. But 2 of them were in max OT, so was it worse?
I would argue yes, because look at the teams that we're playing against them.
Okay.
And now look at the teams that are in the league.
I know, but like, you know, Liquid lost to NIP in stage 1 of last year. They were not very good last year, I'll have you know. They lost to Black Dragons last year, and I don't care how they did that season. That team was all over the place sometimes.
Black Dragons are just that team, though.
Yeah,
this is one of the times where I will excuse talking about the team for talking about the org. Talking about the org specifically for Black Dragons, they have always been that upset team where they'll play average Siege, and then out of nowhere, they'll beat the top people in the league.
Do you remember when, like, for like what? I think one random event in 2022 they qualified. Was it Yangshiping?
Oh yeah, it might have been.
I think because they were only in groups and they qualified. I remember as a fan watching, like, how did Black Dragons get here? They didn't really do much. But you are correct. Especially since 2023, the past couple years. Black Dragons have had some upset potential. They peaked when they had Ask on the roster. They really peaked at stage 1. It looked like they were going to qualify, and then they just didn't.
Why don't we look at how Ask is doing now?
Well...
I only know because I saw it, because it's like a bookend to the stats. Typically, have a look at the player stats, and it's like, yeah, you can remember the first couple, you scroll down to the bottom, you remember the last couple, and everyone else is just in the middle. Ask is 48 out of 50.
Big dog. Poor guy. Well, it's also like, I will say, obviously, you know, I believe Ask is calling on Liquid right now after they dropped Lagonas, and I saw that move. I think Ask is a very good player individually, but Black Dragons, even at their peak, were never the most coordinated team on the planet, attack or defense. They were still very, very good when they were good. Don't get me wrong. Like, they had a weird group stage 2, but playoffs, they were like a menace. Ask in particular, really good individually. But so when they bring him over to Liquid to call, I'm like, I'd bring him over to shoot. But I think we got bigger issues, as I think we can all see. Liquid kind of have some issues. And I think Black Dragons will probably take the dub today. We talked a lot about Black Dragons Liquid, which is the game not even happening right now, by the way.
I think we got sidetracked by the graphic, didn't we?
We did get sidetracked by the graphic.
I'll excuse us.
And to be fair, I am looking forward to that game. I do think Black Dragons will win. I think they're looking very good right now.
Well, that's the thing. Everyone that's here is already here. W7m versus Loud. So why not talk about the Liquid game that's coming up, you know?
Yeah, that's true. And plus, it's like, you know, what that first round weren't exactly doing anything crazy. We had a smoke and a Tachanka for plant denial. The Tachanka was like on camera in front of a hole or like exposed and died immediately. The smoke was isolated on blue stairs, died too. So all your former plant denial was a C4 and it missed. Not great. Maybe they could have run a Goyo. Did they run a Goyo actually? Let me check.
I don't think they did.
I don't think they did actually. Actually, we could talk about that. Why did you not run a Goyo? It's the Goyo. No, they did run a Goyo. You're lying to me. I was gonna say. I was like,
I knew you were gonna check.
Okay, dude, you're the worst. I literally remember at the beginning of that round, looking at that lineup and thinking, is this all servers gonna be now? Is it just gonna be Smoke, Tubarao, Goyo, and then like some combination of Tachanka or Warden?
It has been a super popular map today, hasn't it, Bank, though?
I mean, that too. I meant the lineup, like, in general across the region, but Bank has been super popular. This is our third play out of 4 maps so far. And like I said on the desk, our third play was the very slow border. By the way, if you're curious, we have not acknowledged the standings. As you can see, Black Dragons in third. I imagine they'll probably qualify for playoffs at this point. But yeah, a lot of Bank today.
Big game for W7M as well, really, if you think about it, because they can cement that top spot now. NIP, they've already played today. They already got the win. Black Dragons, even if they get 3 points, if W7M get 3 as well, then they're not going to leapfrog. So it's just another week in that top spot, and it increases that differential. And guarantees, I imagine, a good seed when it comes to the playoffs. That's usually how these things work. Would you look at the flip side? You look at Loud, you think there's a chance for him here. Whilst this game means a lot for W7M in getting back and maintaining a lead, Loud could leapfrog a few teams here.
Definitely. I mean, that FaZe game yesterday genuinely is a game changer. The fact that, one, you beat FaZe, which is always a team you're going to have to worry really hard about whether or not you're going to beat. The fact that they come out with 3 points over FaZe, it's not so much that FaZe are harmed all that much. Obviously, as you can see after their win today, they're up at 12. They're probably going to make playoffs. But Loud, if the expected result had happened where they lose in regulation, they're down with 9Z and Los. They're in the bottom 4. 1 behind ENX, who just got 0 points. And then they'd be going up against the #1 team in the league. We would genuinely be looking at a Loud, like, fighting for 6th place, which they still are in 6th. But now they could... I'm not saying they'll get top 2, but now they could cement top 4 by just cobbling together a couple more points.
Have been reliably informed we are only waiting for one more player. If you are wondering why we're on the standings, we are just in a small rehost at the moment. We did have one of the players from, I believe it was w7m, drop out.
Yes, it was Volps who DC'd.
Somebody DC'd at the start of the round, and the admins have decided to replay the round quite rightly, so we are going to be waiting for that one player to get in, and then we will get in a couple of, then we will test and make sure that we are in and everything's good and the bands are right and the sides are right and the bomb site rotation's correct, and then we will be going into the game. It does just take a couple of minutes, but guarantees less breaks. w7m versus Loud, of course. Bank for the third time today. I don't know how I'm feeling about this because we saw quite a lot of Bank in NA, which is the region that we are primarily from, Lynx. It does seem to be creepy.
Region I'm from.
Well, okay, I was being polite. But you've only cast NA. Okay. Is that better?
Yes.
It does seem to be a map that is becoming a lot more popular, and I don't know if it's mainly down to the new banning system that we've got. Obviously, banning 2 operators, playing 4 rounds, and then banning another 2. I'm unsure if that kind of is something that's catapulted it in, or are we just looking for a reason when it's just a random week where we play a lot of Bank?
I think it's got to be said that the fact that you can ban Hibana, Ace, and then another operator, whatever you want to do, is crazy. Like, it is a game changer for Bank. Because the defense has had problems for a long time, assuming the attack has a minimum level of competence. The fact that Hibana can open up all those hatches super quickly, she'd usually get banned, but then you just bring hard recharges. You can then ace the server wall, so teams start putting the mirror, or they can throw it open the wall, but then teams place the mirror window there, but you still have ace on the board usually. So you can just open up the server wall. But now you can ban Hibana and ace, basically force the attack to ban the mirror, and now the whole game is opened up. Ban Grim, Ying for your second ban, or third ban on attack. I think you are right. I think the ban system for Bank has been a game changer.
It's really opened it up a lot. Although we're yet to see it really nailed down as a real 50-50 map. I don't think that the games we've seen today would be a good enough representation of which side it truly favors with those bans.
Reload! But also have to see which side ends up coming out on top on this CEO defense. Volps is thankfully still here, and he's on the smoke. Always a bit clustered together are the defenders on this top floor. Not a lot of room to maneuver in the site, let alone outside of it. But this Clash has freed up the stock position. If she's unbanned, you know, you don't have to run the deployable shield with somebody sitting behind it. You can kind of move around, look in the vending hall, look out the double windows, put it down, fire a couple shots. We saw the Clash move up and destroy the ranged breach earlier by putting down the shield and taking some shots behind it. But now Dota's cementing his position right here. I was about to say, yeah, you gotta be careful. Not any nades flying in.
Very difficult to deal with the Clash inside of stock. Volps is going to be holding a tight angle as well. The air jabs are going to go out there onto that janitor door. That's an unfortunate nade throw from Daft. That could be very costly when you've got so much to burn. Maestro. Got the Aruni gates to contend with. Even the Clash to an extent. A nade can be a really powerful tool, especially when you're only bringing 2. Bees now going to go in. I mean, you already know where the Clash is. The Clash can now place the shield down and swing for all the worth from behind it. Don't really feel like Loud are making the progress that they want at this point. There's only a minute left, which, whilst it's enough time, and they have some sense ROUs out in the site, they still need to try and do something here. Bass has the kit, and he's still outside on that rappel. Evil Eye camera's pointing into the position. Smoke grenades coming out. Now I've thought about rotating below. It seems like Loud are very unsure what they want to do.
Loud tend to play very, very slow, and we can see the example right here. Ooh! Volps trying to take a peek out at a janitor with the shotgun in hand, and shocker, somebody's watching. He'll be kicking himself for that one, and that is what Loud needed. You can see the immediate change of tone. Somebody hops in stock, Clash pinched. Loban might find one, but with Dots finding a second, I was going to say it's even. Or at least favoring w7m or Loud, excuse me. But now, it's a dead heat. Halu put to 1, but both players stuck on rappel. Loban will catch one, hopping in the window. Daffodil recovers, but his only covers Perez on that Zofia. And if the Aruni just creeps up, if the Aruni just finds an angle through the smoke, he could win it. But the shots sail right over his head, and Perez cleans up the remaining two for Loud's second.
Great use of the ROU from Sense. Perez out there on the rappel, holding it down. Loud were really slow. Loud didn't have too much control. And then what happens? W7M just get antsy. They start peeking things. Volps! I get the vision, okay? You feel like someone's breaching. You're thinking, right, I'm going to whip out of the door. I'm going to try and do something, try and make something happen. But you've got to account for someone watching that long angle from the top of square stairs. And he wasn't the only one. Multiple antsy players peeking when they really didn't need to. Loud didn't have a lot. Now, okay, the argument is if you don't peek and you just continue to let Loud operate, it's going to get more and more difficult in the site. So you've got to peek to get something. But when you've still got the clash up, use the clash to do the peeking.
Yes.
Send the clash first, peek behind the clash. A little bit more teamwork. You can't just be swinging these angles blind on your own. So whilst I understand the motive from W7M, and we have to make something happen here because they're dominating, they're getting too much out of this, we're giving them too much space, do it in a smart way. You had the clash.
And it's not like because the Clash was obviously worried about stock, but to check that angle, it's not like she would really have to expose herself to the window all that much. You don't have to push up. And to be fair, you know, maybe she did check, said it was clear. It's possible. We don't know. That guy was really far away.
A flomcom?
I'm saying it's possible.
That's a hell of an accusation. You better, I mean, you can't even check that on the VAR.
No. I'm not accusing. I'm saying it's possible.
Oh, we're just talking about what's possible now. Right.
Remember,
okay.
I did accuse FaZe of doing a flomcom earlier, which I believe there was very good evidence of. But it's possible that somebody maybe checked it and they didn't say it. I mean, live was all the way in the bottom left corner of square if you were looking from stock, like the complete opposite corner. Yeah, it was a rat angle. And he was Nomad too, so maybe he blended into the wall a little bit. It's entirely possible. We don't know.
Wall fortified.
But either we can say Volp's going down basically opened the whole thing up, as you could tell, since Loud basically started sprinting into the site the moment he did. After the timeout, w7m moving back down to lockers as neither of the two primary sites on bank have gone their way at all. The solution? Rat.
Well, there's only one way for it, and that is denial. Look at that for a lineup. Okay, it's only got one C4, but you've got two Brow. You've got the Echo. You got the Smoke, the Goyo, and the Tachanka. A lot of stuff to burn out some time with Dudes picking up a great opener onto STK. That is only going to make things easier. If he can waste maybe a little bit more time, shoot another drone, or just get himself back to site, that's job done.
Not entirely sure, but STK might have been ahead of Perez's drone in open area. I couldn't quite tell if the drone was in open or not, but either way, clearly lacking some kind of info. Perez now drops, and very logically, Dodez will do the same. Loban, his rat works. We saw him in loan office all the way at the beginning of the round, and he gets his kill. I was a little worried. I was like, oh no, they dropped the Warden, Ollie, and they brought Ying and Sens. Well, now they're both down.
I'm reloading.
Volp's trying to get a bit frisky, is found out. And now you know somebody's top floor. This could be a very, very solid 3v3. Shots going through the wall, all collide into the indestructible surface. Loban swinging out blind, somehow picks up the Deimos. You would never in a million years need the roam to work out this well. But boy, are you happy it has. Nade goes in, Loban will swing out ahead, and he still gets it! We're just feeding this Goyo 1v1s. Now you've put live on below half HP in a 1v3. Good luck in those hatches, buddy. Oh, they're open. We're good.
He's also Maverick.
Well, I know. That's what I mean. Like, good, like good luck, because it's going to take a while. And there's a tuber out, as you can see. First round for W7M.
I love the way that Volps plays that final kill that he gets. Because he sees the nade come in and he's like, I've already got away with murder. Like, it genuinely doesn't matter what happens from this point onwards. He's stood on top of the nade. The nade indicator is red. And he's like, all I need to do is kill the Blackbeard. And the Blackbeard's going to peep me. Because guess what? He's thrown the nade. He needs to kill me because they're well behind. Like, they can't afford for me to just, you know... It's
slip away.
It's beautiful. Sens ban. Okay.
I know. I was thinking the same thing. I mean, obviously, Loud have been relying on it quite a bit so far this game. It's been brought every single round. One more than the Ying, which I would think maybe the first counter argument would be Sens and not Ying. Well, Sens hasn't brought every round. Ying has only been brought on basement attacks, which are 2 of the 3 rounds we've seen so far. So for all we know, if it's not a factor on CEO, maybe it's not a factor on open area or tellers. Don't know if you could make that judgment, because it is Ying after all. But it's very clear it's an operator that Loud quite like. Makes sense to me.
I think it falls into that category of Loud play it a lot, and they're quite good with it. So let's just take it away, because there's not too much that replaces it. Whereas the Ying is just the Ying, and if they want to play it, so what? Like, we're just going to have to deal with it.
You can bring the Warden.
Yeah, which they have.
You know the
ain't
Warden's
gonna matter
not going to be
because there's no
high
Ying.
prio. True. Well, I mean, hold on. We got a few seconds. Ah! See?
Okay.
You can never be too quick with attacker repick, Ollie. Rookie mistake. Rookie mistake.
Well, they've already changed up a million different things.
Yeah, and they can change 1,000,001 if they want. Doesn't matter. Quite a lineup, though.
Nah, indecision. It shows a lack of confidence.
You're calling this round for W7M?
They need to be more convicted in what they're picking.
Quite a lineup, though. Dokkaebi, Grim, Blitz, and Ying. Eager to see what SDK's going to do.
Yeah, they're really throwing it at this round. Why not? There aren't many rounds of their attack left, and the W7M picking up the pace in the previous round, the timeout being good for a round. It's as good a time as any to start to maintain, or to continue and maintain that lead. I swear, if we see another person rappel down this skylight today, I might lose my mind.
It's happened so often.
It's just happened too many times for me to be comfortable.
One guy did it, and now everybody on the planet is doing it.
I think I've done it once and just died straight away and was like, I'm never doing that again. That's such a bad idea.
When it works, it's so cool. When it doesn't work, it's like, why?
Yeah. It's crazy the footsteps in CJX. Even then, that little clip there, you can just hear it sounds so different.
They're
it sounds so much
loud.
clearer.
They're very clear. I was about to say, I was kind of curious if we were just going to do a smoke plant. And indeed we will. Candelas go out. Smokes go out too. Very, very late. As W7M entirely caught off guard by that quick rappel in. Blitz will likely just stay inside, maybe put down some pressure.
Hello?
STK, hello! Palu caught playing Angry Birds on his phone. Unfortunately, God's looking to try and pick things up, but W7M looked like the fear of God's been put in them. As with all that control and the defuse plant put down by Loud, W7M are shaking, quivering in the face of this SMG-12 in the post. It was a 5v5 when that diffuser went down, and STK, give him the Dokkaebi. It'll give you magic with that secondary. All 5 for the Doke. 3 attacks for Loud.
You got every single kill in, like, Janitor Hallway.
You got every single kill in 45 seconds.
You got 1 kill at the top of Spiral Stairs, and then everyone just started lining up for him, like... Oh, I mean, Palu didn't even know what had hit him. I have no idea. We were just talking about how good the sound was, but I have no idea how Palu didn't hear that. He was right next to everything as it was happening.
Palu got backhanded by the SMG-12.
It was like, like you could feel like STK was like, this is just too good to be true. It's an absolute freebie. Good on him. Hey,
Very good on him.
What did I say at the start of the game? Put some respect on that name. 5-2 right now.
You were absolutely right, because he's 5-2, and also Louder up 3-1. I know, attacking side on bank, but W7M have not looked like the most active participant in a lot of these rounds, and I think, as we saw in round 3, that was a big play from Lobin, but all he did was ratting in lone. That was it.
Oh yeah.
Wasn't the setup, wasn't the structure, wasn't like this crazy trading system. Lobin didn't get drone, which is a mistake from Loud. And then he got some really good kills, made some good individual plays, but that's it. Just a hero play, a 3K, a one-off. You gonna rat every round? You need something more convincing, because Loud are looking a lot better when it comes to these clears.
Loud are not only using their utility a lot better, but they're also winning their gunfights.
True.
Like, it's it's pretty dire on the side of W7M. Yeah, there's a couple of guys that are yet to get a kill, or sorry, only got 1 kill on the side of Loud, but we've literally got Volps with 0 kills. We've got Dots with 1 kill. Palu, 1 kill. That's 2 kills between 3 players. We're in round 5. It's just not good enough. Like, yeah, play behind your utility, for sure. But you've also got to win a few gunfights.
It's scary. Like, you're going to see a very quick clear of the top floor right here. Blitz going to sprint in through that double door. Yep, think a boost in. Seen Shopify run this one quite a bit. Run through the barbed wire. This guy doesn't even know. This guy doesn't even know what's about to hit him. Good night, Volps. How about 0-5? How about Loban down, too? Is that not the most efficient bank second floor clear you've ever seen? This might be the most efficient open area round you've ever seen. They've caught off another roamer. Dodez is squatting in stock. The rent is overdue by months, and he is still there. Dots is trying to cut off an attacker rotation of Marble, and they can just drop down the hatch. It's over. It's cooked. Unless we see the biggest throw of SAL so far, which, to be fair, KDS had a 1v5 yesterday, so that'd be actually pretty hard to beat. It's against Loud, too, so actually a little nervous now. As the Nook creeps by. Castle on drone. They know now. Here comes the Blitz. Tagged up. He's keeping them. He's keeping them at bay. SDK pushing forward. Hello! Okay. Little whiffage, but we can forgive him when they're up 4-1.
Oh, it was even worse than that. I did wonder when I saw Perez get that final kill. I was like, I didn't think Perez was on the Blitz. No, he wasn't. Like, he actually got the kill through the soft wall. The Blitz did, in fact, miss every shot.
Poor guy. Hey,
a round's a round.
Another STK round.
Listen, a round is a round. And if Loud are going to go 5-1 up, then so be it. We are just here to watch and observe. They're playing some really good Siege at the moment. As you mentioned, such an effective clear of that top floor. Good pre-placed drones, really good teamwork. Everybody knew where they needed to be. And w7m, like, please tell me, you know what you're going to expect here. You know that this is something that could happen. Just be ready for it. It just seems a shame. Like, buddy up upstairs, play a little bit more utility, bring a Malusi or something, bring a Legion, like, just stop these players from just being able to walk in at you. As soon as they walk in, they close the gap, bang, Blitz kicks off, and, I mean, this is kind of what you get when you don't ban a single shield, I guess. You've always got the best shield for the job, so maybe that's a different conversation, or maybe that ties into this conversation a little bit. But it just seems a bit strange.
Especially when, as we mentioned, w7m don't play this map all that much. They played it at Reload, and before that, at least according to my notes, before that it was 2024 Stage 1. This is not a map they play often, so we see them bringing it out, and we're like, okay. They're cooking something. They got something in store. And it's been a lot of bank defaults. Not even played that energetically. The positions are all there. I think we can agree with that, Ollie.
I would agree.
But as you said, the coordination. The calming between those two players in the top floor. Not playing their trades. Letting Loud get all that control for free. They set up a plan, and to be fair, Loud are executing it great. And it's easy to get caught off guard by that rush on second floor. Everything just falls so easily after that, and for a team that was going toe-to-toe against Furia in the best game of the stage, not only in SAL, potentially in the whole ecosystem. They're getting run down by STK.
Which, as we've discovered, is, you know, it's not a bad thing. It's going to happen to people. Daffo, he's able to pick the first one. Loban gets himself caught off guard. A chance for Dodes to drop the hatch there, but with STK on that printer window, finally some success coming through here for w7m.
Ooh. Harrow's with a key kill right there. Potentially saves himself as he takes down Dots, but no, finished off by Dodes. Unlucky. Really strong fight back for w7m. Dodes sitting on that hatch, waiting for somebody to push up. The right kind of play to make there. See if they give you something, as you need to make a play once the man count starts dwindling. Might be a Oh no, he just really did not know if somebody was behind Cafe. That's funny. Oh! I didn't know Paul was up here. He checks it, he's down! That is a hell of a play to make for Palu, and now he's chilling. It's a 1v3. Palu was so stealthy, I didn't even realize he was up here.
You literally have outlines. But you could see it on the outline.
I was
Were you
wired
locked in? Were you immersed?
I was locked in. Hey, 4-2 for Loud, though. Still looking really, really impressive. Against the best team in the league so far, at least the highest-rated team in the league, 4-2 on attack is certainly good.
You'd be happy with that as Loud, wouldn't you? They've had some really good rounds in there. I think the last round, maybe they just bit off a little bit more than they could chew, going for something similar, you know, trying to take things a little bit quicker. I liked it more when we saw them sweep as a team on that top floor. But then again, are w7m that team that are going to consistently give you that as an option? Probably not. So it's fair for them to get a couple of rounds, but realistically, you'd be looking at an even split, or you'd be hoping for an even split, especially with the way that things were playing out. The shields were available for Loud, though, and they did exploit them. Something that isn't going to be available for w7m are two of the primary shields, the Monty and the BB, both removed, and as is the norm, Azami and Castle taken away.
Really going with the NA bans there. Hibana, Ace, and then Azami Castle. Also, do want to shout out, as the desk mentioned, w7m, one of, if not the best entry team inside of the league so far. Loud winning every opening duel except one in that half. Now, their attacks are typically the stronger side right now. They're 57% on the attack and about 48 or so % on the defense. Obviously, they can vary from map to map. When they played this against 9Z all the way back on day one, it was 4 rounds apiece for an 8-6 OT finish. But still do want to be careful, especially since w7m showed a lot of good ideas in their game against Furia yesterday. And you'd hope, again, with them willing to go to this, despite it being their 10th preference map, 9th preference, excluding Oregon. You want to be accurate. You think they have something planned, and we'll see if Dot's on the shield, a category of operator he's usually on. That'll get the job done.
Fun fact, coming into today, Loud were actually the worst team in the league on entries.
They were.
Right down at
14.
39%.
That's not good.
For anyone that knows numbers, they know that's not good.
Yeah.
We know our numbers.
I have dyscalculia, so.
What does that mean?
Like dyslexia for numbers.
Oh. We just call that number dyslexia.
Alright, well. I'll lose 4 and 3, I can tell you that. And he might be gunning for 5. SDK sitting on the hatch, very calm position. Shielder going for the kill, and he falls back. Understandable. Be careful, Dots.
Reloading.
Don't trip and hit your head on the way down. w7m not wasting any time with this. Clear that open area. Hatches are open. Hibana's on the board. Get a move on.
I think the move is on. I don't think they're doing too bad pacing wise at the moment. They've flushed the player out of open. We've got a couple of these hatches open. We've got some good control, and we've been able to cut off these rotates for the time being. Now it's all about securing the flanks, checking server.
Oh.
Fairly thorough check of server will reveal that it is clear.
Ugh. I don't know about this lineup, though, on the defense.
The lineup's not great, I'll be honest. I would like to see the Goyo in the lineup. The mirror is pretty bad, though, and there's no way of dealing with that aside from those last 2 pellets that Palu's got, and I doubt that that's going to work.
This is the benefit of the of Hibana Ace being up. Not only do you get all those hatches, now with the Ace you can actually basically just completely avoid this mirror window. You basically, you don't have to bring Thermite, you can just 2 Selmas, done. And now, with 1 placed on that mirror window, both pieces of primary utility for Perez destroyed. And now the utility drain starts. Live still has 2. Dots is low, so he's got to be careful, and the defense do have 3 C4s in pocket. Daffodil, in particular, can play around the shield and play a bit further up to actually land that lineup. Of course, he's holding the standard prone angle. Seeing if anybody takes a peek on that hatch. Dodez bites, trying to fish for something. w7m are struggling for a concrete way into this, but the last smoke's gone down. Dots will read the time correctly. Dodez drops, taking the fight to those C4s. Huge play from the Thatchers. He gets all of them! Every C4 in Loud's pocket. dismantled by the L85, and the diffuser goes down successfully. Basetto preoccupied with the players rushing up gold. That problem will continue to rear its head as Dots presses the issue. Knock him down, finish him off. Easy one for W7M, albeit with very low time remaining.
I mean, you say easy. Basetto was so close to stopping that plant from going down, and the time was already 0. So he stops that plant, and it doesn't matter how many kills, doesn't matter what's gone on. If he's alive and he stops the plant on Echo, round over. Super close. It got shot out just at the right moment by W7M. We got a great view of it as well on the feed. W7M starting their attacks very strong indeed, though. Save that. They didn't waste any time taking control, and they had a great answer for dealing with a lot of that utility. I mean, would you rewind and would you want to replay that if you allowed and maybe bring the Goyo instead? I'm sure there's something that you could squeeze it in there for. I don't think we saw too much value out of the 2-brow other than a decent gun and a C4. We didn't. It's not like you've got the ability to freeze the Hibanas forever. Like, yeah, so what? Hibana can remotely detonate that X-Kairos. It just doesn't really do too much.
Attackers have discovered the location of a bomb.
And again, I agree. I agree with on the point with the Goyo. There's a reason he is standard on that site. There's a reason he's brought in basically every iteration of the setup on that bottom floor, and it's because you got 80 seconds of denial in that kit. 80 seconds of denial. And the default strat is a plant on the border between CCTV and server. Might have overcooked a little bit. There's a reason he's always brought. Also, a very clear reason, Sally and I have become somewhat experts at this point, why you bring this Clash for stock. Just so flexible. Already saw it earlier. Already talked about it earlier. Not a big shock. Live will bring it. Loading on this blitz. Saw how good that open area clear was last time, and I hope Loud are ready for it this go-around, but we got no Bluebines, got no Banshees. Zotos might freeze him, and the C4s might blow him up, but aside from that, we want to save those for other purposes.
I like Dudes bringing the Zephyr as well. And that's a nice little... Oh, unlucky.
Oh.
Can't drive your drone into the Cade Claw. Yeah, I think that's a good little change to deal with the Clash, potentially. You've got some of that stun capability. You've got some of those impacts. You can send that out as Zephyr's launch, the lifeline, and maybe unseat the Clash, maybe get an angle. Could be an option, depending on what it's destined for. Also, the mirror. A key piece of util that's open here and not being brought. Mirror on CEO is a fantastic tool. So again, kind of bringing into question the lineup that Loud are bringing. Are they bringing the best tools for the job out of what is available? Time will tell. The next minute and 30 will certainly tell for this round at least. Palu looking to pop a smoke out there and give himself an angle to work with. Eris is on the Warden, so Palu does need to be caution, throw a bit of caution toward that. Looks as though he's setting up for a little bit of shock and awe here as people are lining up to get themselves stuck into stock.
Ooh, nice play by Live. Swinging ahead of that flash, catches an attacker off guard. I thought they might need specialized tools, but SDK literally just put a toxic canister at the foot of that doorway. And that was it for the Blitz. And apparently that was it for W7M. There's Palu and... I don't even know who else. Is it Volps? All cut down. 5v1. 5v none. Loud up 5-3 at the moment on Bank. Not saying they will close it out, but with how rudely that attack was stopped the moment it got started, got to start feeling a little worried.
Got a flawless round, for goodness sake. They were setting up for like a serious 3-2-1 with, you know, Palu on the CO windows, players pushing in through stock, somebody on the main lobby, Rapal, you know, somebody maybe walking up Spiral. They were really trying to set up for that big, like, right, let's hit it together. And it just never came. Loud were just like, okay, you're going to walk through stock? That's fine. We'll find one.
Yeah.
Oh, Palu, you're on the... Oh, no, you're not on the rappel anymore. It was just one by one by one. There was just nothing at all that they had. I was questioning Loud's lineup, but maybe we should have been questioning W7M's.
Or maybe at least questioning the strat overall, because Logan was basically pushing Janitor by himself, and I believe SDK actually, I think he actually shotgunned him too, because he lost health pretty precipitously, and it didn't just seem like he was inhaling smoke. I felt like he would have lived a little bit longer in that position. But then Dota's also just pushes in. I don't think there was like any pressure on the players over by Checkers. Like I think they had a smoke for it and that was it. People were not really contested by w7m inside of the site overall. You saw the vision over by Janitor and over by Stock, but I think they were betting everything on that play, and when the Stock player died and the Blitz went down, it was like, oh, well, this has gone very awry.
Something that hasn't gone awry is the lineup this time for Basement. Loud have brought the Goyo.
And the Clash.
Seto on the Clash as well. Clash, don't always see Clash for a Basement. Usually you would value other things, but in this instance, Seto has opted for the Clash. I guess with the setting down the Clash shield, it kind of changes the way you would play Clash in Basement. You can play a little bit more aggro on those blue stairs, drop back, and give yourself something nice to peek from at a later point. Player's going to get found out here in open. Lobin, you can open that up, but the hatch is open and people are happy to drop off. STK, Perez, both happy to retreat back to site after that first minute, knowing that they've taken down quite a good portion of drones, really. 5 drones gone. It's not a bad opening gambit.
No, not bad at all, but you really do have to start worrying if you're w7m. You won Locker CCTV previously, and it was a pretty decent round, but while I did say that it seemed pretty easy, I think to be fair, I think I was blinded a lot by that Dota's 3K, which looked so masterful, but you did point out that C4 had to get shot out of the air. Dota's had to get that 3K, had to deal with all of those problematic players by himself. It was well coordinated, it was a good drop. There was still potential for things to go awry. We'll spot the Clash, walking around blue stairs, but that's a nice thing. The nade might stop her retreat. Oh, she has worked herself in a tricky position now. Really good timing, detonating the Vulcan pack. Gun comes out for Basetto, taken down too. Dota's put to quite low HP, but I like that pinch from w7m.
I love the vision there from Basetto. I think if he's given another couple of seconds and he can drop the Clash shield, give himself a power pause, maybe it's a little bit different. The fire did do quite considerable damage to Dodes, but he's not likely going to be the one putting the diffuser down. It's very likely going to be Dots on that Ossa, and they've set up a nice shield deep inside of server. Got some good pressure on the hatches here, so a lot of this is going to come down to the utility. Perez on the Warden, still with a C4. Live, still got 3 Toxic Babe canisters. Vulcan packs, they've dissipated. No more left for this world. Perez activates the goggles. Another bait on a Toxic Babe. 26 seconds. It's still going to be fairly touch and go, given Live's remaining utility.
It's going to be problematic. It's going to be an issue, even in the 4v5. Loud looked like they might be in a good position. Last smoke goes out. It takes down Dots completely. No missed utility this time. Volps hits the drop, though. STK finds him. Man advantage W7M, but time advantage Loud. Kills hitting for Live. Only 1 second to go. Warden just has to hold. Up 3 rounds, 6-3. Loud just 1 away from toppling our top of SAL.
Perez there, just doing the minimum, staying alive. You don't need to peek. You've had your moment. You've stayed alive in Red Corridor as the Warden. That is enough for the round. 6-3 now for Loud as w7m consistently struggle to find an answer for this team. What is the ban going to be? A Blitz and a Clash. Basetto being a bit of a nuisance on the Clash. I can see why you remove that operator. Good thing for Loud is they don't necessarily need to go back up to that top floor. Open area hasn't been horrendous for them, and if they remove the Blitz now, that's every single good shield out of the game. Now, it does open up King, it does open up Grim, it does open up Capital, it opens up anything that's not a shield. However, from what we've seen, it's not always mattered what w7m have had access to, because Loud have just plainly been better on the night. STK 10-5, Perez 8-3, Live 7-5. No one's really slacking here too much. Even Daffo, who's only got 2 kills, he's only died 4 times.
It's a good game. It's a very good game.
10 seconds.
And now up 6-3. I mean, it's not like, it has to be stated how much of a game changer this is for Loud. Not only the win yesterday against FaZe, but then against w7m, 2 really, really strong teams in the standings right now. w7m's at 13 points. Dropping this game, to be fair, it's an upset, but it doesn't mean a whole lot from them. They're basically qualified for playoffs at this point. Top 6 at least. But Loud were at 5 yesterday, with 2 Titans of Brazil in front of them this weekend. They get 3 points out of 1 and another 3. They'll find themselves at 11, 2 ahead of Furia, the champs of Reload. A team you've always got to be worried about. And then right behind FaZe, the team they beat yesterday, who's only at 12 after a regulation win today. And if you're worried about just sneaking into that top 4, if you've got head-to-head over 2 different teams, depending on how these tiebreakers get close, this weekend could be so pivotal for Loud's not only future for groups, but even future into playoffs, depending on what happens.
It's a big week. Make no mistake. Loud have thrust a flag down into the sand and said, we are here to play. Regardless of who they've gone up against. Put up a good account of themselves. The game isn't over, though. We've still got rounds for w7m here if they are able to clutch out here. And well, it'd have to be a fairly hefty clutch. Take us into an OT right now.
Reloading.
Oh, the best start. Para's going down. Smoke will keep SDK safe for a brief time. Draws for the shotgun, but it's not going to be good enough. w7m are on a different level here. You have angered the beast.
And the beast is hungry. Daffodil sent sprinting, panting, gasping for breath inside of E1. 2v5, Bassetto the only one in the sight for the moment. w7m even taking some time to reset. The Candelas go off. Doda's caught slacking, but you've got redundancy, critical redundancy in all of these areas. You can play the trades, you can play the waiting game. The manpower and the time favors you, but they're starting to drop. They're surrounding around Daffodil, but he vacates the area. Drops down completely. Don't want to see w7m lose it like this. Missed opportunity on the Legion. Spots the person beepers, but down he goes, and they all turn to marble stairs. Daffodil reveals his position, and Palu cleans up the last 2. 1 down, 2 to go. OT. Just a couple more attacks for a close game against Loud.
Where has that w7m been for the past 30 minutes? Because, welcome, whoever this team is. You finally made it to the lobby. Good time to use a timeout for Loud. Take a little bit of the sting out of that previous round. With the speed and aggression that w7m came in on, it's no wonder that you see that timeout taken now. You're like, whoa, cool it, buddy. You just need to calm down a little bit. We have been on having the upper hand all game, and we've quite liked that. We don't really want you to come in now and start really sweating and trying, but it seems like that's what w7m did. It was an angry round. It felt like a lash out, and they were lauding their superior mechanical skill over this Loud team, which up until this point, I'm going to be honest, we have not seen. Loud, giving themselves an option just for a little bit of a conversation, but it also gives w7m time to go, okay, we've had our lash out round, now let's build on it.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
Gotta get 2. Got the foundation set, not just the structure and the
Bomb
roof.
located by attackers.
And that's just OT. Auto guaranteed a point. At least 1 out of this, so they'll tie with Furia no matter what happens by the end of today's game. You gotta defend CEO too. Though this one, Ollie, can be deceptively, I feel, hard for the attack sometimes. You see the site right there, you're like, oh, it's CEO, just go on repel, get the diffuser in, pressure stock, maybe bring a shield, job done. With the defense also clustered together, the stock player with an arm's reach of the player inside of Conference and Marble. Marble guy, same thing. If you're in the center of the site, you got the player checkers behind you, janitor to your right. Everybody within trading distance on this top floor, and with how good Loud have been in these gunfights, if w7m slip up, I would trust Loud to take advantage of that and trade away any death that might come their way.
Yeah, I think it's on w7m to not make any silly mistakes, isn't it? With the Clash being banned, it kind of changes the dynamic of this site. Loud have consistently brought a Clash to try and hold on to the outside of sort of janitors and stock area. And it's a great, I mean, typically you play a deployable shield there, but what's better than a deployable shield that can't move? Oh, a Clash shield that can. So it's just a better option all round. You're still going to get that pressure onto the windows. And with the Azami being removed, there's not too much that you can do about that. So you've not really got that same level of strength Again, bit of a surprise to not see Loud bring a mirror here to assist them for that. Even just a bit of info. Like, okay, we know that they're on the window. We know that they're throwing this, that, and the other in. I've actually had the IQ brought out in a retaliation for the Valkyrie. It looks as though Loban is doing a good job of spotting out those black eye cameras, and yeah, that's all three, so they know exactly where the cams are now. Live, I guess what he brings to the round is now a C4 and the MPX, which is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? It's baited out the IQ at least. Might not be terrible.
Also, what Cyber plays the op for. Doesn't really matter what... Doesn't care what happens to the cams. He's just there for the gun. Roam around the map. Cause chaos for the attack wherever he decides to rear his head. That clash point you brought up is very important, though. Look at how much more space w7m have to work with. Loud can't contest this as easily. SDK might have to be more active in contesting the hall outside Janitor. Already letting a smoke go early on. That B makes him nervous. He knows he's vulnerable without that player pushing stock. You got the marble guy instead. But Live is able to find one. There he is. He is just on the roam. That's Loban down below. He was not a major factor in this attack. The bulk of the structure the attack's bringing is still quite solid. Now Smoke starting to push back. Thermite looks in. Perez spotted. Tries to transfer onto the smoke. He's easy pickings. Dots on for two and pushing quite deep with Diffuser. He doesn't want to overextend his hand. This aggressive line is good, but maybe it's time to reset. Daffodil losing a lot of HP. Baseto spotted by these bees. Holding on for dear life on the opposite side. w7m taking a brief breather. Again, he is on a tear. The 5-5-6 rat-a-tat-tat inside a CEO finds 4 separate players. And Live, late to the party. Asleep at the wheel. 1 kill on the flank, and that's all. Loud will get that round. Just 1 round away from overtime.
You've got to bring the mirror. If you've not got the clash and you've not got a solid presence outside of stock, you have to bring the mirror there for that defense because it makes things so much easier. You could see how antsy Smoke was getting, imagining or thinking that someone's going to push in off the back of the bees. You got to remember, if the shields are banned, it's very unlikely that someone's just going to ball straight into Janitor. And he can't rotate properly because he's not got the mirror window, so he can't see what's going on the windows. And then as soon as the player gets into Janitor door, bang, the wall's soft, and he can just spray straight through into Meat and he kills Perez. It's a domino effect. You know, it's as soon as one thing starts to go wrong, as soon as you lose that little bit of, not even position, it's presence inside of Janitor. As soon as the attack feel like you've lost presence in that part of the map, boom, they're in. And if Thermite's placed down the exothermic and doesn't have the kit, then you're sure, why not? Why not? They're going to push through. Of course they will. See if they can get themselves a couple of kills. It'll open the round right up. That's exactly what happened. w7m, a really good stabilization here, and now they have brought this back to within 1 round. Basement still locked out. That's where Loud have looked good so far today. They've looked good on other sites, but if they had basement available, they would be feeling a lot better than they do here heading into this open area defense.
The site that started this comeback, where w7m won that first defense, and Ollie, that one was not close.
No, it was scary.
No, that was a super strong victory. A little choppy for me. Choppy waters.
Smooth seas a good sailor does not make.
Okay, I'm back now. I'm chilling. No, I'm not back.
Quite an interesting lineup here from w7m. They're bringing the Sense this time. I haven't seen them play tons of Sense. Loud, they play quite a lot themselves. Early use of that ROU as well. STK back in this Janitor position.
There.
Looking for a little bit of support from below. Just calling for Perez to shoot out that Selma device. Feels like he might have got it. That wall is still solid. STK not really wanting to stick around to find out. Still a thought from w7m that he could be up there, but he has since dipped himself back to site. And they are left chasing a shadow on this top floor. They have a lot more control than I think they realise right now, but it won't take them long to make good on that. Got breaching charges to rip this floor open. They've got a skeleton key in the hands of Palu. They should be able to start putting a bit of pressure onto anyone inside of Archives.
That'll be Perez. That'll be the Fenrir who's got to worry about the attack bearing down upon him. w7m have made very good progress. Loud rotated out at the right time, but oh no! He rotates out. think w7m might know, and then he catches Dodez completely off guard. w7m have 3 opening picks. Dodez getting each and every one of them so far. It's not a necessity. But 21 kills yesterday, 12 today. That's 33 over the course of Clubhouse and Bank. And now with him gone, Ollie, it's a 5v4.
Not looking great for w7m. Although Loud have been very good in the opening pick, and they've still managed to lose rounds. So it isn't all said and done just yet. What is going to be the reason for players to move right now? Quad wall is open. A glimpse of a player there, but Live tucks himself right in. He's got a bit of support from Perez on those blue stairs as well. There could be a very good flank here if required.
It might be. As Live goes down, that close player, something else has got to add, but Palu's checking it. Down goes Perez. 10 more seconds in STK's pocket. A C4-2. The last bits of utility. The second line of defense before you got to start firing these guns. Daffodil's retaking blue. Do they check it? As Loban's pushing in, it's only STK on the site. He's got one, but it's all onto the Ella. Reveals the position, but Volps is going to be looking. Volps is ready for it, and there's no denying this defuse. He's rotated all the way across in the off spot. What a flick on the dots! And just one bullet. That's all you need to take down Volps. All you need to take down this Sens. But what intel do you have? The beepers reveals his position. Reveals that he's crossed. He hit the goal line! Does he know he's sprinting? He's gotta know! w7m drop it because Volp stubs his toe! He's got time. He's got more than enough time to rub w7m's face in this 7-5.
What a way to go. What a way for that game to end. A goo mine to finish it in a 1 versus 1 when both players are one single shot